Okay, good morning again, guys, and it's a lovely day here in the bay again. Beautiful weather for May. Thank you again for joining us today for Meet Another Therapist. Today we're going to Tweed Heads in far north New South Wales, border town with Coolangatta, and we're talking to Mr. Jeff Murray. Jeff has been a therapist for a long time and also an educator for a long time. So sit back and enjoy, and let's see what Jeff's story is all about. Alrighty, so Jeff Murray, thank you once again for having a chat. I tell you what, I do really appreciate you giving up all this time. It might have been quicker to hop on a plane from Newcastle, fly to Coolangatta. I know I wouldn't have got across the border.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get across the border.
Yeah, well, we could have sat on the other side of the footpath and just yelled at each other.
We could have gone to the border and I would have talked to you across the border. Yeah, so if you come into New South Wales from the Gold Coast airport, you then have to, when you go back, you've got to do a 2-week quarantine in Queensland.
Right. So
you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So is there talk of that finishing shortly, do you know, or haven't heard?
No, nothing's permanent yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the rugby league players, they won't let them do it either, so
yeah,
they've all got to stay in New South Wales.
Yeah, well, I just heard on the news this morning that the Warriors have flown into Tamworth.
Tamworth.
Yeah.
They're training the Tamworth Warriors.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jeff Murray, soft tissue therapist, educator extraordinaire, and down to earth, really nice guy. Mate, what got you in? I do know the answer to this question. What got you into massage therapy in the beginning?
Yeah, well, in the very early stages, I was in the Air Force, and in the Air Force, I was heavily involved in middle and long distance running. And, as a long distance runner, you had your share of aches and pains and niggles and everything like that. And so you'd go to the medical doctor, they'd give you pills or they'd give you a needle or whatever, and that was it. Anyway, one day this bloke said to me, "Why don't you go and have a sports massage?" And I didn't know what a bloody sports massage was back in the early 80s. And, I was talking to this guy and I thought, wow, this is interesting. Here I am going to doctors when I should be going to this bloke. So I went about and did a sports and remedial massage course in Newcastle back in '89, and the rest is history.
So that's 31 years this year then.
No, don't say that, Laurie, I've forgotten.
You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? There's not 1 minute of the day that I look at this as being work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love it.
I remember probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was driving along with my son, who's 25 now, and he said to me at the time, he said, "Hey Dad, what do you want me to do for a job?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, what do you want me to do? What would you like me to do for a job?" I said, "Mate, I don't care what you do as long as you enjoy getting up and going, because you've got to get up and do it every day." And I think that, as you just said, it's if you enjoy and love what you do, have a passion for what you do, it doesn't matter what it is, it's not a job. It becomes I guess it becomes part of a lifestyle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love everything I do and I get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
And the people that you meet in this business is from one extreme, from one end of the human spectrum right through to the other, isn't it? Did you get all sorts of...
Oh, yeah, you get your fair share of personalities. Yeah.
Yes.
I call them compliant and non-compliant clients.
Somebody asked me about that once at a workshop. They said, "What do you do with people who, won't do the stretches or the exercise or whatever?" I said, and they keep coming back to see you every month, and you know that if they just stretched their hammies, they wouldn't come back. And my reply was, "Call them your rent payers. If they're happy to come back and see you every month, and you're doing the right thing, and they're not taking up the options, well, there's nothing you can do for them, but just do what you do."
Yeah, well, I look at it this way. There's a couple of other therapists around the area here, and if I've got non-compliant clients, I just say, you know what, maybe you're better off going to them, because I look at it this way. Someone sees them, they go, "Well, you still got that back pain, you've had that for 5 years. Who are you seeing?" They're saying, "Oh, I'm seeing Jeff Murray." Well, that's bad advertising.
Yeah,
so
true.
Now, if I know they're non-compliant, I just say, you might be better going to see someone down the road, or, I can't help that.
So when you did your initial training way back in '89, when you came out and were let loose on the paying public, did you feel as though your training was adequate?
Probably the most frightening experience of my life. I mean, naively,
yeah,
I got a distinction and I felt, wow, I know everything. And then I got out there and realised I didn't know anything. I think the changing moment in my life was one day AMT offered this seminar down in Sydney presented by Rich Fay from America. And so I went down there, and Rich gave a presentation on quadratus lumborum and how it causes hiking of the ilium. Mate, it blew me away. I mean, now I look at it, it was so simple. But then I didn't know how to assess. I knew how to rub, but I didn't know how to assess. And straight away I went, right, this is what I have to learn. So from then on, I just went and studied every on-sen course presented by Rich Fay over and over and over from 1990 till he retired in virtually 2000.
Oh, okay.
I just did the courses over and over, and the light bulb moment.
Yep.
All of a sudden the penny would drop and the light goes on and you go, oh wow, that's what that means. And that changed my life. It changed the way I work, and it's been the greatest asset that I've ever had, learning to assess.
I find it interesting that running workshops, and you probably hear the same thing now and again as well, that particularly therapists who haven't been out for a long period of time, they'll say things like, oh, like, why would I waste 15, 20 minutes doing these assessments? And my reply is, well, if you know where the problem is, you can go straight to the source rather than, guessing or mucking around and, packing the gun full of buckshot and, firing at the barn wall and hopefully something will hit the target. But you're wasting a lot of time, both your time and your client's money. Whereas by doing the assessments, you know exactly where you're going to go and how to work out what has caused the problem. That's a whole different ball game as well. Like what's caused the QL to tighten up? Is it something you're doing at work? Is it something in your sport or activity that you're doing? Are you walking around with your wallet sitting in your back pocket particularly for blokes? Yeah. Do you find that's a common? I
just think that the time that you spend doing your assessments is valuable time. And if it takes me an hour to do my assessments, but I've got good information, then the next visit is easy.
Yeah.
Because I just have to treat what I found.
Yes,
but
exactly.
I have to do those assessments.
Yeah.
And I learned a very good thing from a physio I highly respect, who I used to work with, Chris Downs. And Chris was a guru on knees. And he said to me, you know, I fell into a trap one day. He said, I thought I knew everything there was on these, and so I blindly assumed, oh, I know what this problem is. I didn't do the full assessment. Went down the road of treating not what his assessments revealed, because he didn't do them, but what he thought it was. Mm. And in the end, he found out it wasn't the problem, because he didn't do his assessments. He says, I don't care how good you know your subject, just do your assessment and prove it wrong or right. And that's always stayed with me. And I thought, that's a good lesson to learn. I know. Ever. Yeah.
I know I've fallen into that trap. I've fallen into that trap myself once or twice. And you go home and you kick yourself because you think, well, that was just a waste of time, because if I had taken the 10 minutes to assess X, Y, and Z, would have found it straight away and then gone straight to it.
And you know, you're wasting your client's time and money, and you're wasting your time and effort.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, look, we all do it, you know, and there won't be a person out there who doesn't at some stage jump the gun and go, oh, I know what this is, and then find out it's not that at all.
Yeah.
So assessments are important.
Yeah. I remember.
And I think they're probably the thing that's lacking the most in our training. You know, I think overall we teach people how to massage well.
Yep.
But I think there's a bit lacking in our overall assessment criteria.
And it's interesting that when you look at Peter Bruckner and Kahn, Clinical Sports Medicine, their text, and that's been a Bible for a number of years now. And they still go through the same active and passive range of motion, and then all their special orthopaedic tests. Now, admittedly, some of the more intricate testing for neurological stuff or other red flags are sort of out of our scope of practice anyway. But the basic active and passive ranges of motion, you know, resisted testing, they're going to tell you so much about what that person is going through. For the, as you say, the amount of time that it takes you to do them. And I think with people who have had the fortune, probably the right word, to be able to accumulate that clinical reasoning, that they listen with these to what the person's saying rather than just go, oh yeah, it's a sprained ankle, you know, okay, you stood on a hockey ball, inversion sprain, blah, blah, blah. But is it a high inversion sprain, or is it
syndesmosis strain? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Hey, I got that right now. Jude, right, my wife.
Oh, okay.
Twisted her ankle the other day, and so she came in all black and blue, swollen, and I'm feeling around, and guess where all the pain was? On the 5th MTJ.
Ah, right.
And I went, shit, I said, I think you've got a Jones fracture. So we sent her off to the doctor. Of course, the doctor ordered an x-ray, and they took an x-ray of the ankle. It was okay. But when I looked at the x-ray didn't go down as far as the 5th MTJ. It only looked at the, you know, talocrural joint.
Yep.
So I said, can we have a look at the 5th MTJ? And because they took another one down to the 5th MTJ, and there it was, fractured right across the head of her. So now she's in a boot for 6 weeks. But there's a perfect example of assuming, oh, it's just a twisted ankle, and not going that little bit extra. Yeah.
And that again comes from that clinical reasoning, as you said, that the pain was all down lower, not up around the...
Yeah, when you touched the 5th MTJ, mate, she went through the roof.
Yeah.
When you're touching around her, you know, anterior talocrural ligaments and all the other ligaments around the ankle, oh, yeah, not too bad, you know, you just go, it's not matching. Yeah.
And that's where that... That's where that
clinical sports medicine is good. The other thing I think, Laurie, is I can remember years ago when I did that on-scene course with Rich Fay on shoulders, he had a shoulder matrix. Right. And he said if the first 5 passive tests are positive, don't treat them, send them to a doctor and get an ultrasound, because the chances are it's inert tissue. And that's always stuck with me. You know, and he really said, don't be afraid to refer your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said, they'll respect you more. Instead of spending 5, 6 treatments and going, geez, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you see the red flag, refer them off.
Yep.
You know, so, yeah, really important learning your assessments.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to another therapist over the weekend who rang me to say that she's coming up to do, I think it was the cervical and thoracic with you.
Right, so she's your friend, right?
Yes, and I said to her, I said to her, expect to walk away and be totally confused, and if you get 10% of those 2 or 3 days, you are doing really well, because you need to do that 2 or 3 times to get the whole, well, not even the whole thing. It's something that'll just, as you said before, the penny will drop down the track. You'll have somebody come in and you'll go, that's what he meant. And
you know what? She's going to be one hell of a lucky girl, because of the limitations of how many people can visit. You can now have 2 people visit.
Yep.
So I've got her and another bloke coming.
Yep.
So 2 people in a course. I just said to her, I said, you are going to get so much information, because it's virtually one-on-one.
Well, that's what I said to her too yesterday, that you know, that's a big bonus that you've got, and still be prepared to walk away.
It means we can spend a lot of time doing all that muscle energy stuff through the cervical spine and the OA joint, you know, be invaluable for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the 5th and 6th of June.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking to do a mental health first aid training course this month. Yes, I interviewed a mental health first aid trainer last week, and was one of those, because with the amount of people, not just therapists that I've spoken to, but clients as well, over the last month, who are stressing out because they don't know what's going to happen. And I think there's a lot of people out there.
I think that's really wise, because I tell you, we've got, like, if you watch 60 Minutes and that, there's people who've never been unemployed in their life. One woman said she had $6 in her account, and the bloke, boilermaker, worked all his life, lost his job. I mean, these people not only are mentally and physically run down, I mean, they don't know how they're going to make ends meet. And I think the mental side of it is going to be a big issue with therapists, especially massage, you know, sports remedial therapists.
Yep, absolutely. Because I know, you know, like, Rach and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about, you know, what are we going to do, because, you know, I closed the clinic down for a month. And I said to her, you know, we're not living week to week. We've got money in the bank. We're okay. But I know there are a lot of people out there who do live week to week, or paycheck to paycheck, as they say. And you just have to feel for them, because it's not of their doing. All of this, it's out of their control, and they have no idea when they're going back to work, when they're allowed to go back to work.
And it's okay to say we're all right, we're working, but our clientele may not have the income stream to keep coming to us.
Yep.
So, you know, we as a profession have got to somehow go, well, okay, I'm going to help you through this. You know, maybe I don't charge the $100 a treatment, I charge $50, or maybe what can you do for me? You know, we'll do a barter system or something. Because,
yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, there's no point you being the only bloke who can work, but no one can come to you because they're unemployed and they've got no money.
Exactly. It's like the price of petrol. It's nice and cheap, but we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ah, dear. What do you find the most rewarding? What gives you the most satisfaction in your job?
Look, I mean, I know it sounds egotistical, but when someone comes into you and they're in dire straits, they've been everywhere, they've done the rounds, and unfortunately no one's been able to help them, and you just sit back and you do your assessments, and something shows up and you treat it, and they ring you up a couple of days later and say, wow, You know, whatever you did, I'm 80% better. You know that's why you do what you do. Because it's that satisfaction. It's not an ego thing. It's just knowing that you're able to help someone in their most dire straits.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help everyone, but the ones you do, you get a lot of satisfaction from.
Absolutely. And as you said before, it's having the ability and the self-understanding to know when you need to refer people on, whether that's 10 minutes after they walk in the door or after 3 or 4 treatments, whenever it might be.
I do a little ploy now. When I know people have been around to a lot of people, I say, okay, you're going to have to excuse me, but I'm going to have to do the same or similar assessments to what they've done so that I can work out what's wrong with it. Inevitably, they say to me, oh, no one's ever done these assessments to me. And when they say that, I go, wow, this is a winner, because everyone's just been rubbing them.
Yep.
You know, no one's actually taken the time to give them a good assessment.
And
that's when, that's the light bulb moment, I think.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that that's not just massage therapists that applies to. It's they've been to the physio, they've been to the chiro, and I know there are excellent physios out there, excellent hands-on physios, excellent chiros that spend 30, 40, 50 minutes with people, not just the 8-minute turnaround. The one that I often, when they come in and they say they've been here, there, and everywhere, and no one's been able to fix me, one of the first questions I ask, well, if you saw such and such, whether it's a physio or chiro, did they give you any stretches or exercises to do? And their answer from that, or oh yeah, well, you kind of can ascertain from that they're not doing them, and you then ask them, so you know where you stand right from the get go. Yeah, it's interesting. What has been your greatest achievement so far in the business?
Well, obviously, that's behind me, the Sydney Olympics, which you know only too well because you assisted me. I think that was the most pinnacle moment of my career, being director of sports massage at Sydney Olympics and the Paralympics. It was so rewarding. It was so stressful. It was 2 years out of my life, but it's something that I'll always look back with the fondest of memories. Made lots of friends. You can see the sign behind me. It's got everyone's signature on it from around the world. It's even got your signature on it, about coming at 45 miles an hour or so, kilometres an hour, etc. So. But quite often during the day when I come to the desk and this is up, I just look at it and I go, oh yeah, I remember him or I remember her. Just good memories.
Yeah.
Good memories. So the Olympics was definitely my pinnacle.
Do you think, given how massage therapy was given a platform during those Olympic Games, do you think as an industry we have progressed in the last 20 years since then?
Laurie, I think the Sydney Olympics was the first time that massage was clearly accepted under the medical umbrella.
Yep.
We were a team from doctors to physios to exercise physiologists to radiographers to podiatrists to dentists to optometry. All of us were working together, referring backwards and forwards. And I thought at that moment, we are just going to keep getting better and better and have more acceptance within the medical umbrella. I look now 10 years on to 2020. I don't think it has progressed.
You were right the first time.
The way I envisaged it to progress. The reason I say that, and I don't mean to be detrimental to all the different massage associations, because I think overall they mean well, but therein lies the problem. We've got too many people trying to put their input through various associations. We haven't got one sole voice.
Yep.
And I think that tells the government and other therapists and other organisations that we're not a united profession. We're quite segregated. We've got different bodies, different associations telling us what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what's wrong with this association, what's wrong with that association. And I think it lets us down. Despite all the good efforts of the good associations, and there are a few out there, we need one association.
And that's been very evident in the lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent information over the last 5 or 6 weeks. One association is saying X, one association is saying Y. And I did note late last week there was, or it might have been early last week, there was a joint statement put out by 4 of the major associations. I did note there was one of the other major associations that was missing from that. I would like to know the reasons why they weren't involved, whether they weren't invited or didn't want to get involved, I don't know. But it was interesting to see those 4 major associations come together and put out a statement. And I did see that someone we both know from Canberra has been very active over the last month in getting therapists to talk about what do they want. And I think part of the problem is that the term massage is misconstrued throughout the general public. They don't know what do we actually do, you know. And you would hear it from clients, you know. They say, oh, you know, I left work and they went, oh, you're going for a massage, are you? Lucky you. And
yep.
You know, then
I wish we'd get rid of that word.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like in your introduction, you know, you said soft tissue therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you say massage, the connotation is relaxation.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with that, but I think, personally, if you've done a Certificate 4 course through an RTO, you should be called a massage therapist. But if you've done a diploma, an advanced diploma, then you should be given some title that is above general massage.
Yep.
Like myotherapy or like soft tissue therapist. But there's got to be that delineation, because if I walk out in the street and I ask 100 people what's massage, 99.9% of them are going to relate it to the Chinese relaxation massages that are popping up all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't see it as remedial. They don't see us as part of that medical umbrella, working closely with physios, closely with osteos, closely with chiros.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the big problem I see. And, you know, the other thing with the different associations, I see it the same as the Australian government's issue here. We've got a federal government saying this is what should be done, but then we've got the different state governments doing their own things.
Yeah.
And that's very similar to us as, you know, therapists having all these different associations. We should have the federal government saying, states, this is a federal issue, this is what's got to be done.
Yeah.
But no, we've got states. So here it is, I can't go into Queensland, you know, I can't go to Gold Coast Airport because Queensland state government has said this, but New South Wales government has said something else. This government wants to send their kids to school, but that government doesn't.
Yeah.
It's too disjointed.
Yeah.
And I think we've got the same problem. We need one voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And therein lies the question, what do we refer to ourselves as? Because I had an experience, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. A woman rang up here, and Amy, the receptionist at the time, said, I've got a lady on the phone who's looking for a myotherapist. And I said, do you want me to talk to her? She said, yeah. And I said, hello, it's Laurie here. What can I do for you? She said, I'm looking for a myotherapist. Okay, you're from Victoria, are you? How do you know that? Because that's the only place we have myotherapy. I said, basically a myotherapist is a remedial massage therapist who's done dry needling and 1 or 2 other things. And now myotherapy, the Advanced Diploma of Health Science, when you look at the training package, or not so much the track, because it's not in the training package yet, is it? Or it's coming in this year? Yeah.
No.
You look at the modules. We'll talk about the modules then rather than the package. They're identical. Yeah. Yet myotherapists still have this thing that they are different to everybody else. And look, that's fine. They've done a lot of good things in Victoria to make themselves known as not a massage therapist.
Yes.
But how does the rest of the country get around that? It's going to be...
Look, I appreciate what they've done. My biggest problem with that is, how do the general public, what the hell is myotherapist?
Yeah.
They don't know myo's muscle. So I think soft tissue therapists, like what Canberra's got from CIT, I think that's a better, easier word for the general public to understand. Using the fancy Latin word myotherapy, I think it just adds to the confusion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to a therapist from Berlin about 2 weeks ago. We had this same discussion, and he was saying that over there they have the they call it the spa massage, the medical massage, and the happy massage. But he said general public still see that word massage, and it all gets lumped in together. They don't have an understanding of what is medical massage, what is remedial massage. And as I often say to people, look up the origin or the meaning of the word remedial. I've got a brother who's a school teacher, and when I first qualified, the first thing he said to me, so what are you qualified as? And I said, remedial massage therapist. He said, so you have to do it again, do you? Because
but it's true what you're saying.
Exactly,
What's remedial?
Yeah, to remediate, to fix something. Go and learn your maths again, or whatever it is. But people don't. When you talk about remedial writing or remedial maths in an education context, they understand exactly what you're talking about. But you put it into body work and physical therapy, and it just sort of misses the mark. So it's going to be a dilemma for a while, but hopefully, hopefully there are people out there who are. Well, I know there are people out there who are passionate enough to keep, banging the drum and knocking on doors and sort of.
I don't think it'll happen while I'm here. I think I'll be well and truly gone before we come to a consensus.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow process. Ah, dear. Jeff, what do you do to switch off other than paint the clinic?
Hey, I've finished, Laurie.
That's only the outside though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I've got to do this reception area. Look, after my serious bike accident in 2010, I never thought that I'd get back into any sport at all. But slowly and surely, I've started swimming again and running again. I'm really enjoying getting back to my running. I don't ride a bike on the road anymore. I've got a stationary bike inside, so I do mini triathlons. And I'm okay doing triathlons as long as it's an organised triathlon where the roads are closed, there's no traffic and stuff like that. I've just got this mental thing of being on the road with cars. So I find that running, swimming and riding gives me relaxation. The other thing which you'd be interested in is I've taken a liking to dancing. And so, it started off just a simple learning rock and roll, and then we started doing some ballroom, and Jude and I really love it, and we've met some wonderful people. So we're really keen after this COVID virus leaves us that we can go back and start doing some dancing. So we're looking at that, because up here where we are at Twin Towns RSL in Tweed Heads, Mark Wilson, who was on Dancing with the Stars,
Right.
he runs a dance night every Monday night
Okay.
from 6 to 11, and it's so good. Everyone gets up there and dances, and he teaches different things, and yeah, we really enjoy it. So we're looking forward to getting back and dancing.
Oh, good. And that's only a short stroll from your place too, isn't it?
Yeah, about 200 metres. Or if I swim across the harbour, a little bit less.
Ah, dear.
The other thing I do is scuba dive.
Scuba.
Yeah, love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I took it up a few years ago and really, really enjoy it.
Nice. Nice. How are
It's good
you?
diving up around here.
Yeah. How are you personally coping with the pandemic lockdown?
Well, we had the clinic closed down, for quite a few weeks. Therapists had no income. I couldn't charge rent. Financially, it's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been tough on everyone. So I wasn't working, so I thought, okay, I'll paint the outside of the clinic, because I was going to get professional painters to do it. I wish I had have. But I thought, I've got to do something with my time, so I did the painting. But yeah, look, the other therapists in the clinic, they're struggling because they've got no income. They've had to go and look for support. They couldn't pay me rent, so it's an ongoing situation.
Yeah.
But this is our second week that we've been open, and we've been getting a steady stream of people. Not what we used to get, but it's building.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm worried that with winter coming on, it might hit us with everyone mixing a bit more, because Europe was in winter, we're in summer.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think we got hit bad yet.
Yeah. What sort of procedures have you put in place down there with the clients coming in?
Yeah, well, we've got chairs outside the clinic that people wait on the veranda. They get escorted in by a therapist. We scan them with a temperature scanner. They fill out a logbook that we've got to say what time they entered. They sterilise, they put gel on their hands. We wear a mask and gloves, and we escort them in, and we take as much precaution as possible. We've got hospital grade antiseptic that we spray all the tables and surfaces with. And we're doing as much as we can.
Yeah. Yep. Similar here, the podiatrist and I are working day about, so I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He's here Tuesdays and Thursdays, just to limit the number of people coming in. I do wonder, with all the alcohol that we're wiping over the table, when do we have to get the table recovered? Because I've just had it redone. But
and seriously, that is an issue, because I know when I used to do that way back, my table deteriorated overnight.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to be careful with that. It definitely knocks your table around. I actually got a roll of like paper toweling, but it's as wide as the table.
Okay.
And I lay that on the table now, and the clients lay on that.
Yeah.
And then I use that to wipe the table down and dispose of it.
Okay.
$10 a roll.
Yeah.
And it's, and they've got the headpiece, the paper towel headpiece, so everything's disposable. I don't use the towels now.
Yeah, good idea. It's going to be interesting how we all operate, like in 6 months' time when we're out of this, hopefully. It's going to be.
I think maybe there'll be some things that we've learned because of this virus that we will adapt as being good policy, good things to follow up with, and they will stay with us, and there'll be other things that will slowly drift away.
Yeah.
But, with the pandemic, there will be some good things that come out of it. hygiene number one, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe social distancing. We'll be a bit more cautious of where we stand in lines with people. We might just distance ourselves a bit. And I don't think that's a bad thing. We've all got our space that we talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We sold our dance company in December last year.
Okay.
Yes, and I feel sorry for the couple that have taken it over.
Yeah.
They only had 2.5 months, and then this has happened. So, and I was talking to him last week, and he's sort of trying to work out now how they can come back. It's their situation's the same as ours, that we have full-time jobs that give us the income. So running the dance company wasn't crucial for our survival.
Yeah.
And Rod and Amanda are exactly the same. But we were discussing, are we going to come back and it's just going to be couples only, no rotations, things like that.
I think that might be the thing. No rotation, couples only, and keeping a distance.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen up here. I know personally a young couple. They bought a restaurant, stripped it completely, done it up beautifully, cost them quite a few $100,000 to set it all up, and then the virus hit.
Yeah.
They're broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that they'll be able to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's hard.
So it's tough. It's going to be tough for people.
Yeah. But we keep smiling, we keep moving forward, I think. But yeah.
We'll all come out of it.
Yeah.
But we'll come out of it with different attitudes and a different way of doing things, and we move on.
I have noticed that in the supermarkets that people are a lot more polite these days.
Not like it was in the early stages.
No.
It was out of control.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what the toilet roll thing was, but fair dinkum. Yeah. We didn't have a diarrhea epidemic.
Dearie me. All right, mate.
We're a funny race, us humans.
We are. Right, on that happy note.
Yeah.
Right, I will thank you once again for sitting down. The recording is still recording on both of them, so that's a good thing. And hopefully there'll be no more issues.
I can see that recording sign up there. Okay, yeah. Didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, take 4. You never know.
Yeah, it's all good. You got much more on today?
I've got another client, and then I've got to do some running around, getting things for the clinic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, keeping steady.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Steady.
All the best. Enjoy.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye. Okay, Jeff, thank you very much for giving us some time again today. I do appreciate the amount of times we've had to sit down and try this because of technical issues, recordings and videos and all sorts of things. So once again, thank you very, very much. Do appreciate it. Alrighty guys, if you're interested in any of Jeff's courses, the links are down below. Contact him. I guarantee you will not regret it, and it'll be something that you will use in your toolbox, use in your clinic for many a year to come. Alright guys, as we say, stay safe, and we'll see you on the other side of COVID-19. Cheers guys.